Marketer of the Day, episode 639. Enhance performance and efficiency in your organization using assessments, scoring, and software with Natasha Davis.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Marketer of the Day podcast. We have return guest Natasha Davis here for a quick chat. You can find her previous appearance at marketeroftheday.com/205, and you can find her website at impactbrandingconsulting.com. And Natasha is a registered nurse, a brand strategist, and a corporate trainer. And she's a certified expert in email and social media marketing and branding. And she thrives on fixing problems and eliminating frustrations for companies and their executives. And for the past 15 years, Natasha has worked with several companies and professionals to assist them in enhancing their business potential, their brand equity, their brand loyalty, cash flow, customer satisfaction, and marketing strategy through the power of impactful branding. And she uncomplicates the most complicated aspects in business. And because of that, her clients refer to her as the chief visionary. And what's really great and unique about Natasha is she has the ability to quickly identify issues, find solutions, and get results that improve outcomes. So, Natasha, glad to be talking to you again.
Absolutely. I'm glad to be here. It's always a pleasure joining forces with you, Robert.
Awesome. You never know what could happen, right? Totally unpredictable, might be complete chaos. So what have you been up to these last couple of years?
Goodness gracious, I have been up to a lot. So between constantly serving the marketplace and helping companies with their brand story, one of the things that I paid a lot of attention to was how do I help the consulting industry to provide service even better and more efficiently. One of the areas I specialize in is enhancing performance and efficiency. And what I found over the past few years is that consulting has been losing that, not because of necessarily as a consultant, we don't want to provide that, but mainly because customers are wanting faster results, but that we're getting less accurate information and it's not happening at the time that it should. So we're getting information late and also the information is not accurate. And so what I found over time is I needed to find a way to solve that problem. I'm a problem solver, so I had to solve that problem. And so what I did is I created a predictive model software and it's called the Profit Enhancer. And we're bringing that to the consulting industry this year.
Awesome. So you've been super busy. So this software, how does it work exactly? Like what are the inputs and outputs?
Absolutely. So the way the Profit Enhancer works, it is a full analysis and the consultant uses it as a part of their assessment. You know, some people do like discovery assessments or initial consultations. This is in the front end. So the consultant uses the tool in their initial consultation or assessment to gather relevant and accurate information. And the information that's being retrieved is quantitative and qualitative. And somebody might say, well, what the world does that mean? That means that the information is not only customized and specific to that client, but there's no room for erroneous information and it eliminates the guesswork. And so as the consultant is doing their assessment or their initial consultation, they're retrieving information and it's being inputted into the system. The system is calculating the information. It has a behind the scenes algorithm and it's then delivering a number, a scoring number, so the consultant can see it right away. That gives the consultant so much power and insight at that one time, because the consultant can now qualify the client immediately if this is going to be a good client or a not so good client. It also helps the consultant to specifically identify the gaps for that client. So the guesswork has been removed. There's no more taking on a client hoping that you'll get everything you need to serve them well. And we can decrease waste. That is a big thing. And a lot of companies are afraid to work with consultants because that is one of their biggest fear. We're going to pay a consultant. We're not going to get what we want or what we need. We're going to lose time. We're going to waste money.
Awesome. So it helps everyone out. And this is great because I mean, I'm less of a like businessy guy. I'm more of like a marketing programming guy. And a few years ago, when all of these systems came out, when they were talking about segmenting your list or tagging leads and people like that, I thought, okay, well, that's great, but that seems like that's a path for more complexity, right? There's all these things that you could do, but then when like more of the CRM, customer relationship manager stuff, became more on my radar, and people were talking about like cultivating clients and generating like these lead scores, sort of like what you're talking about, it made a lot more sense to me, because it was like, okay, so instead of doing all this extra crazy stuff and putting people into segments and funnels and lists, it's like, okay, we figure out the questions, we figure out whatever that score is, that number is, and then we
Right.
figure out if there's a good fit to be had, and then we figure out where the weaknesses are. So that makes a lot more sense to me compared to some of the craziness that I'm sure you've seen too.
Yes, absolutely. And craziness is the perfect word to use because, I honestly look at it from not only the consultant's point of view, but I built this software to look at it also from the customer's point of view. Customers need to know that they're getting what they're paying for. And really, it's not that only what they're paying for, but they're getting a little bit more. And so this software keeps both the consultant accountable and the client accountable. So there's clear measures of success. The profit enhancer is directly tied to a client's bottom line and top line. Is directly tied to it. So the customer can now have the confidence saying, this consultant has served me well because I can see the return on investment. I can feel the return on investment. I can now have something I can put my finger on and say, this is exactly what has happened in my company because this consultant has done the work. The other thing is now the client can hold the consultant accountable to avoid waste, and the consultant can now see, I don't have to wait 6 months or 8 months to evaluate a process, to evaluate if my implementation is working or not, because the profit enhancer has trigger points in which we call milestone checkpoints that requires the consultant to do a reevaluation on systems or processes that have been implemented. So there has to be a reevaluation. So no more of waiting 8 months or 12 months to stop and do an evaluation. Now there's an accountability source, which is the profit enhancer. So it is truly a win-win situation for both involved.
And I'm hearing a lot of good lessons in there when it comes to dealing with clients in general. Just that whole concept of like showing the before and after, of having some sort of like tangible results, some sort of documentation. So that way it's not just, hey, I'll improve your efficiency and you hire me and maybe you'll see something happening. And in this way, there's no misunderstanding, miscommunication. There's none of that where people have different ideas about what kind of work is to be done, or the time or the results. So this sounds really great. And so can you kind of walk us through like a story or a case study of how this sort of process would work? Like if you had that client, how like that polling process would go, and you make the score and figure out what's to be done and reevaluate. Is there an easy way for us to get like a quick story so that we really get it?
Absolutely, absolutely. So when we take, for example, one of the clients that and again, I've been using the software internally with my company for years. We're just now releasing it and licensing it out. So we have a client. So I'll give you an example. One client that we've used this with, this particular client was in the industry of insurance. So they're in the financial space. They were a private company and they provided insurance. Now, the area of concern that they had was, how come we are not excelling? How come it feels like, and I always like to speak customer. So the customer looks at it and says, how come I'm taking so long to get my money in? How come it's taking so long to get our reports out? How come we keep losing staff? That's what the customer says. Customer feel, this is the pain that the customer feels, right? So I can't speak consultant language, I gotta speak customer language. So this client said that was their main pain. How come? Why can't? That's what we asked. So what we did is our assessment. What we do at Impact Branding is we take what's called a brand first approach. So we looked at what was happening from the company from top to bottom, applied the profit enhancer. So we did our assessment. The profit enhancer clearly showed us here is where you have gaps. The gaps were in communication, dissemination, how the communication was coming from top to bottom. The second area of concern was there was duplicity in processes, which was leading directly to lack of productivity. And so the profit enhancer was revealing this. The customer kept thinking that it was their clients acting out of sorts, right? That's what they kept saying. We have the wrong customers, it's the wrong audience, we need to get to a new target market. That was not the problem. The problem was truly in-house. So once we fixed the in-house, they were able to now to get rid of the pain points and get rid of the issues. In getting rid of the true gaps and what was troubling the company, that's where they improved their cash flow. They actually had better profit margins and they stopped wasting money. They stopped wasting a lot of money and productivity increased. So where you had a team member that was spending 4 hours on two client projects, we cut that down and they were getting at least 6 different clients in that same 4-hour time block because we improved communication, we streamlined processes, we got rid of duplicity. And that's a big thing. Sometimes companies create an extra process, an extra step, hoping it will fix something, but it's basic duplicity. So that's how the profit enhancer worked. It was an assessment piece that was put in to help give me eyesight into what's really going on, as opposed to just hearing what the customer said. They thought it was their customers there was wrong target audience. That was not the case.
And that's an interesting lesson there, that sometimes we might have some of those customers who are yelling at us or unhappy, and we might think, oh, that just means I need to get new customers, but maybe the problem is with you. Maybe they're really frustrated and it's really difficult and painful to get what they want. And if you threw everything out and pivoted and went to a whole new niche and all that, then you'd have the same exact problems because you didn't change the problem that was there at the core. And maybe there was a problem like with the communication or the process. And so you mentioned a few times that concept of duplicity. And so what does that mean exactly? Like when you say that, I hear like maybe they're having to like do the same work twice or report to 2 different people or wait for someone else to do something. So when you say there's duplicity in the process, what does that mean?
Perfect question. So duplicity in the process. So I'm going to use an example here, right? A good example of duplicity. Let's say that someone realizes we need better internet. We need quicker bandwidth. We need better internet. They go get another company to give them better internet. And then the company also says, hey, by the way, we also do cable, right? So now they reach to one company just to get internet, but they also got access to cable, but they're not using cable. The existing company they're using for cable offered internet, but they never reached into that company to get the internet. So now they're paying 2 companies to do the same exact thing. That's one example of duplicity. Another example of duplicity will say, okay, we need to send out service agreements. We need to send out service agreements and we need to send them out within, 2 hours of receiving a new customer. Team member A is saying, oh, you know what? I found that if I just do a PDF document and I fix it, it's easier for me to do that. So team member A is going to send the service agreement by PDF format. And then they're going to upload it to the online portal that they use to send out service agreements. Team member B is using the online portal, but then they're also asking team member A to send them the PDF as well. So it happens all the time where inside of a company, you'll see 2 people doing the same thing and they're doing it twice. They might be doing it a little bit differently, but they're doing it twice. And usually that comes from there were no clear outline systems and processes, and there is, disconnection in communication, how things get done. So duplicity is we're doing the same thing twice, or we have two people doing the same exact thing. And it's
Interesting.
costing. It costs money. It costs a lot of money. When you start looking, I remember we had one client, and when we looked at it, when we went all the way through the whole assessment and we looked at everything, because we're a very hands-on firm, we found out over the course of the year, they were losing about $39,000 purely in duplicity costs. Just duplicity was about $39,000. Now, some people may say, well, that's not a lot of money. Well, no, it's a lot of money when it's wasted, because where could that $39,000 go? It could have gone to hiring another person. It could have gone to maybe some marketing. It could have gone to research development. It could have gone to product development, service development. It could have gone to something else that will give you an actual return on that investment. So duplicity is ultimately waste, and waste is, there's no ROI in waste at all. Never.
That's really interesting, and I mean, it's a little bit scary too, because this might be something where things have just been done in some organization for years because that's just how it ended up being, and it's easy for one person to do it a certain way, and there wasn't maybe a clear spec or clear instructions on how to do that thing, and then or maybe there was at some point, but they just went out the window, and so it all seems harmless until you look at all this time wasted. You look at, maybe even a whole employee is just there and they're not even needed, or they can be doing something different. So it's like, well, if working on that client, if that takes in a 2-hour window, they work on, 1 instead of 4, it might be, well, what's the big deal? Well, over time, when that happens every single day, every single client, that can really add up to a lot. And so how do you catch these sorts of things? Is it a matter of just watching people work, or asking them to track their time? How do you find these sort of bottlenecks?
Yeah, so the way we work at Impact Branding is we have a very clear process in when we start working with a client. And, again, we don't do cookie cutter. So everything is very customized to each client. And again, we come from a brand first principle, but then also our assessment requires us, we call it a discovery assessment. We do what's called a brand opportunity and needs evaluation. And that's our discovery, that's internal. And what we sit down and do is we go in, we evaluate what's happening, we come in and we see, show me what you're doing, show me how it's getting done. And then we're documenting each of the steps and the processes. And sometimes we'll ask even, why do you do it that way? And they'll say, well, that's how it's always been done, or that's how I was trained to do it. And often we'll say, well, have you ever thought of another way to do it? Oh, I no, either no, I've never thought of it, or yes, I have, but I've never been given the opportunity to try it or to tell someone about it. And so we discover it because we're very hands-on. We fly all over. Our clients get us, and we fly to clients. We fly to wherever they work from, we fly to them. Sometimes we'll have people, some companies will bring me in for what's called a VIP immersion. And what I do is I come in and I sit with the executive to go through their day-to-day, because sometimes as an exec, you're doing a lot, you're hoping you're getting it done right, but then you get to the end of the day, you're like, I feel like I've done nothing. Or every time I wake up, there's a whole new list of stuff to do. And so we come from that place of efficiency and increasing performance. And that's what impact branding really specializes in. It's enhancing performance and efficiency across the board. And so what our main focus is we really align with the company, align with all parties involved. We really become a partner in the process, not just a consultant coming to take their money. We really want to come in and find out what's wrong. We want to close the gaps. We want to fix the problem, and we want to move them forward. And that is another reason why the Profit Enhancer exists, because it helps to show exactly what is wrong. So when you don't have any more guesswork, you eliminate unproductivity. completely eliminate unproductivity because you're getting trigger points to check on something and you're not guessing your way through the process.
Awesome. And so, yeah, we definitely don't want to be guessing our way through that process. We want to be maybe going back through things. And even though it might be a little boring at first to document, map out those processes, it'll pay off in the long run because we'll figure out that there are things that we're doing that are just so slow or so outdated or such a waste of time. And they could be done a lot better if we just paid a little bit more attention and just got a little bit more organized. So this is great. So you do all kinds of stuff, even flying right in there, doing that VIP immersion. And as far as the profit enhancer software, how does that work? Is it web based? Is it an app? How do people access that sort of thing?
Yes, so the consultant licenses the software and it is a cloud-based software, so they can get to it from any device, phone, tablet, computer, laptop, doesn't matter where they are. Long as they have internet, they can get to it. So it is a cloud-based system and they're able to access it. So once they have their license to it, they can access it and it has tiers. So based on the number of clients that they're going to manage on the software, that will determine what their monthly subscription to the software will be. And it's just we're in phase one. We just recently completed our UAT, which is our user acceptance test. That went well. And so we were given some good insight from consultants. Say, here, let's tweak this, let's add this. How about we fix that visually? So we're implementing those quick changes and we are releasing it for initial licensing by the beginning of Q3 of this year. So, I am really passionate about bringing back that credibility and to the consulting industry and also helping others to serve their customers even better, because that's truly important. And, I do believe if you don't have customers, you don't have a business. And if you have unhappy customers, you're not going to have a business for long. So it's important to be able to bring solutions and resolutions to your clients in a quickly and quickly, timely and accurate fashion.
Right. I agree completely. And I also like how you're practicing what you preach here, where you're not just saying, here's the software, use it. If this is a thing that you used internally for quite some time, got the bugs worked out, got it all streamlined and figured out, and then now you're rolling it out in stages and making sure that this is a thing that people will use, something that'll make sense. So I like your mindset of that a lot, where you're not just making something up and seeing what happens. You actually have a plan, a process for that, just like everything you do, it seems.
Yes, definitely. And that's the thing. I think one of the things that allows, we've been around for so long, is that my heart is really for a customer and for people. Like, I don't want to take anyone's money and they not get what they want. We work very hard to service people, and that's really important. So it's been a 2-year process in developing and preparing the software for licensing, making sure that it's user friendly. Like, I have a phenomenal development team. On the team, I have someone, Mr. Wes Walters, who specializes in customer experience. So he looks at the software, making sure that it's going to be user friendly for the consultant. And even like little tweaks, he's like, no, this is not user friendly. This is going to make it hard for the consultant. You need to fix that. Move that button here. Make this bigger. Make that whatever. So I have his eye on it to make sure that it does give our consultants a great experience. And it's not going to be added work to them, but it's actually going to bring added value to their business and to their clients. Our software developer, Mr. Nate Jones, he just went in and he just made sure that the platform was clean, was effective, and you can get to it from anywhere. And then we have Dirk Christiani from our IT side, where he's making sure that we are rolling out a system that is going to be able to grow. And so we have opportunities in the software where we're going to create in phase 2 and 3. When we get to phase 2, we're developing it so that the software can become the actual quote and or initial quote for the consultant to send to their client on the spot. Normally what happens in consulting, we got to come back to the office or get back to a computer and develop a proposal with a quote and all that other stuff and then send it out. Well, again, I'm about performance and efficiency, right? So from an efficiency standpoint, how do I shorten that time so I can get my quote and my proposal to my customer quicker, but I can also increase my time. So this system, once we implement phase 2 of it, is going to save the consultant anywhere from an hour and a half to 2 hours just on developing proposals and sending quotes, because you can do it on the spot. When you're meeting with the person face to face or virtually, you're building out your proposal, sending your recommendations, putting your quote right in the profit enhancer. So when you're done talking to them, you click a button, boop, you send it to them right away. And you say, this is what we've discussed. Here's what we recommend. Here's what it looks like to proceed. And here's what it would cost. At that point, now you have a customer in real time after they've met with you, being able to review something as opposed to having that 48-hour, 72-hour wait time. That shortens that's a great way to shorten the sales cycle.
You thought of everything. You're going to change the world here with all this hard work. So what's the next step? If people say, well, a lot of this makes perfect sense. I like what Natasha has to say. Her company sounds great. The software sounds amazing. Where should people go to check out your websites and what you have? And what sort of person should be checking this out?
Great question. So I always say the best way to get connected with me and my team is go to the website. We make it real easy. You can request information, request a chat. Just go to impactbrandingconsulting.org. You can go to impactbrandingconsulting.org is how you can find us. And you'll find our number, connect with us socially, send us an email. You'll find everything we need. So who is a great person to reach out to us? I'll start with, if a consultant is struggling with that, facing that question of, I'm tired of having the conversation with my customers that, why am I billing them? Why is my rate this? Consultants don't like to keep answering that question. Why am I paying you? We don't like to keep answering that question because we work really hard. So the consultant that's having that question, that keeps getting that question periodically of, I'm paying you this money all this month, and how come I'm not seeing, or how come this isn't working, or when am I going to see results, and so forth. That's a great person to reach out to inquire about the profit enhancer, because bringing this system into the consulting company totally is a game changer. It is truly the consultant's companion. It really is. And so that's a great person to reach out to me regarding the profit enhancer. I recommend that if a consulting firm is at a point as they're growing in number of customers, they're really growing in also their team members, there needs to be a QA process and a way to streamline the process of how are we evaluating customers. You can't evaluate customer A and do an assessment this way, but then when you go to customer B, you're doing the assessment a different way. We have to have a clean and concise way in which we're assessing each customer so we don't miss any rooms or any opportunities to serve them or any information. So that's also really important as a company is growing. Reach out to inquire about the profit enhancer. And, somebody might be saying, well, maybe I want to talk to you about helping me with my brand. Those individuals who are saying, we need to either save some money, we need to start making more money, or we need to eliminate some frustrations because our processes are not doing what we need them to do, or it's taking too long to get things done. Reach out to me so we can have a conversation about that, because it may not be that you need our services. It may be that you just need a quick conversation to turn the light bulb on. And that is something I believe. We don't take every client. Just because you call and doesn't mean that we take a client. It's truly a pairing and a matching process. It's a matchmaking process because, this is a long-term relationship. And so sometimes it always starts with a conversation. And so reaching out to have a power chat is something that we encourage people to do, because we have to evaluate, are we a good fit for them, and are they a good fit for us? It's truly a matchmaking process.
Fantastic. Well, you've given us a lot to think about, especially if it feels like, if you're a consultant and you feel like you're spending more time scrambling and going back and correcting things you miss instead of doing the consulting, maybe it's time to get a little bit of a better system, and that power chat or checking out that software can be a great way to do that. So impactbrandingconsulting.org is the place to go. Did I get that right?
Correct.
All right. So we'll see you over there at impactbrandingconsulting.org. And thanks, Natasha, for stopping by and for sharing some of this cool stuff with us today.
Thank you so much. I've always had a great time on your show and serving your client, your listeners as well. So thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome. Please follow me on Twitter at twitter.com/Robert Plank. That's twitter.com/Robert Plank. And while you're adding me, also like Marketer of the Day on Facebook by going to facebook.com/Robert Plank Show.